I'm going to kick it over to Aislinn, and Aislinn is going to go pretty deep into spellcraft and jewels.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dan. And I'm so excited to go into those nightmare dungeons, those strong rooms, and especially the escalating sigil dungeons, because it's going to be a freaking huge burst of rewards. It's going to be great. It's going to be hard, too. Those Waller elites are going to be a pain.
Yeah, especially when the affix stack up run over run throughout the escalating nightmares. It's going to be quite intense by the end.
It can get very intense.
The boss fight will be crazy.
Intense. So yeah, now these are going to present their own sets of challenges. So of course, we need to utilize the Horadrim's power in order to overcome those challenges. So with Season 9, we have Horadric Spellcraft. So there's a lot of different components to Horadric Spellcraft. So we're going to go over a quick overview and then dive a little deeper into how exactly it works. There are 3 different things that comprise the entirety of your Horadric spell. You're going to be crafting a Horadric spell in Season 9. You're going to need a catalyst. The catalyst is effectively the core of the spell. It tells the spell that it's going to be a celestial storm of stars, or it's going to be a beam of arcane energy that disintegrates your foes. And then secondarily, that catalyst needs to have a damage type. So you need to infuse it with one of 5 different elemental damage types. These could be fire, lightning, frost, and poison, and I'm not going to remember the last one. And so that determines the elemental damage type of the spell, and it also gives it some nifty extra effects too. And then finally, there's Arcana, which are just like extra bits and baubles you can add to go even further into customization. So like you can probably imagine, this is the build your own spell kind of power. And each one has a ton of unique utility as well. You're going to be able to disable various enemies' elite affixes. You're going to be able to garner powerful effects for your own build, like vulnerable or crowd control. There's tons of stuff you can do with it. So without further ado, let's jump into how exactly that works and how you'll be slotting it. So on the left side here, we have Celestial Surge. That is the tooltip for one of the 5 catalysts that you can actually equip. It is the one that causes a star storm to fall on enemies. On the right-hand side, we have the Smoldering Ember, which is an infusion. So this will make Celestial Surge a fire version of the catalyst. So you will need to slot Celestial Surge, and you're going to have to assign it to one of the skills on your hotbar. So in the middle section, and we'll have a video to kind of show this, but basically you assign Celestial Surge to one of your own skills, and when you use that skill, it invokes Celestial Surge with the Smoldering Ember infusion applied to it. So let's take a look at what that actually looks like. So here we are, kind of tinkering with our Horadric Spellcraft in the UI. We're going to equip Celestial Surge, and we're going to assign it to our rightmost skill, which in this case is Lightning Storm, I believe. So whenever we cast Lightning Storm and Celestial Surge is off cooldown, we are going to cast Celestial Surge in addition to channeling Lightning Storm. Now, we can't use Celestial Surge, like I said, unless we have an infusion equipped. So we are also additionally going to equip Smoldering Ember and make that Celestial Surge a fire version of itself. And Dan, luckily for you, this makes it so it destroys Waller elites as well. So for anyone else out there that also dislikes Waller elites, this will cause Celestial Surge to break those walls down, which is pretty great. It will also turn off Chilling Winds as well. So yeah, now we have a functional spell. So let's go in. We're casting Lightning Storm, and we also see these stars falling. Not a very fun time for them, but a pretty great time for us. Everyone explodes, and we have a good day. Awesome. Now, there is a third component to Horadric spells. It is called Arcana. So with Arcana, you don't need Arcana equipped for your Horadric spellcraft to function, but it gives it a bunch of awesome extra effects. So we have 3 examples here. I'll go over them just really quickly. We have the Sapping Crux. It causes your catalyst to also apply Vulnerable for a pretty substantial amount of time, so you can effectively solve Vulnerable through this system. We have Reactive Ooze, which causes you to generate a pretty substantial amount of your resource every second for the next 10 seconds, so you can potentially solve your resource through that. And then we also have Sharpening Gizmo, which will blast people for quite a bit of physical damage and increase the lucky hit chance of your catalyst. Spoiler, your catalyst has a lucky hit chance, which can be really, really useful. Now, we also have some fancier Arcana. These examples are Magic and Rare Arcana, but the Nightmare Orb is Legendary. So Legendary Arcana is a bit different in that each of their effects differ based on which catalyst you apply them to. So these two tooltips might look the same at first glance, but they're actually for two different catalysts in the game. The left-hand side one is specifically for propulsion. So it causes propulsion to additionally fear enemies, and while they're feared, they periodically explode, which we will also check out. It sounds very scary, to be honest. And then on the right-hand side one, we have the disintegrate version, which causes them to take way more damage while they're feared from the actual catalyst effect, which is pretty great. So let's take a look at what this looks like in action. So we have a Spiritborn here who has the Nightmare Orb equipped to propulsion. Boom, propulsion explodes everywhere. They are all freaking out, they're feared, and they're exploding even more. And to be honest, I would also probably be feared if I was constantly exploding. So that makes sense. And that is the quick and dirty overview of the Horadric spellcraft system. There's a ton to experiment with in this system. Can't wait for you guys to dig into it. There's so many different combinatorics, so many different possibilities. So go wild, go crazy, try everything. It's a blast.
Yeah, I really love how you can customize it, not only in like the effect of the spell, but also like how you use it, right? They do have cooldowns, but then you can assign it to any one of the skills on your hotbar. So if you just like want to save it for a specific utility moment, right? You've customized it in such a way that, hey, it solves those Waller affixes, right? Yeah. And that's what you want to use it for. You can make sure it's assigned to a cooldown that you're going to save for that right moment. Or if you're just trying to really optimize its damage output and its DPS, you just put it on your basic or core skill that you know it's going to come up very often. And you don't need to really think too hard about it. It's just going to trigger when it triggers.
Yep.
It's true. Like the crazy amount of combinations that come from the system. Like I know I said on the PTR stream, and I feel like the people who have played the PTR will be advantaged now because I feel like this is something that the patch notes just can't do justice. It's going to be very hard to read through that and get a good example of how you can theorycraft and buildcraft through these. So it's really something you're going to need to jump into the game, get your hands on, and then really start to tinker with because there are so many possibilities. So if you have played the PTR and you know these systems, then you've already got that advantage of knowing how intricate these systems are. So.
It's true. And there's not just that. You know, you thought that was enough Horadric magic. There's more.
Throw another layer on it. Why not?
Yes, there's also Horadric jewels. So Horadric jewels are powerful gems that you can use to augment your Horadric spellcraft and your character's build even further. So when you go into these strong rooms, once you're in Torment difficulty, whenever you complete one, you're going to find a Horadric tome. And this is knowledge that the Horadrim have stored away to craft these really powerful, unique Horadric jewels. Once you find the tome and you use it, you can go to a crafting station and then with gem fragments and the seasonal currency, craft Horadric jewels. They're crafted with Horadric vials and gem fragments. It's not as many gem fragments as it was to craft occult gems, so it's not quite as a massive grind as it was before. And they're specifically socketed into amulets and rings. So you have 3 sockets that are specifically designated for this, which means that you can have up to 3 Horadric jewels. And here we have an example of a Horadric jewel. You know, it gives you some good stuff, core stat, max life, and you're going to be hunted in Sanctuary's darkest places. Well, that doesn't sound great.
I don't think you need to worry about that, no.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be anything. I'm sure that's just flavor text, right? That's all that is.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Cool. Anyways, so let's talk about the how you craft Horadric jewels with a little short video to show us what that looks like. So we have the Horadric Lapidary here, which is where you're going to go to actually craft the jewels. We're going to navigate to the craft jewels section. We have them neatly organized among different categories to help you just, sift through it all pretty easily. And we have quite a few of these. I think there's 16 in total. There's 16 Horadric jewels. So whenever you go into a strong room, you're going to find more tomes, which is going to let you craft more, and then yada yada. So here with our wonderful Stalvar, the Awakened Arbiter, we want to craft an idol from below. So we need 15,000 of 3 different gem fragments, and then 3,000 of the seasonal currency, and voila, we have our idol from below, which is fine because there's nothing wrong with this and nothing bad is going to happen from this gem at all, so it's no problem. You'll also notice that it gives you bonus armor and resistances, so you're not actually missing out on any of the bonuses you would typically get to your defense from normal gems being socketed in those slots. But yeah, so wait, what's this? It sounds like the idol from below is actually
I'm hearing
not
that's
great.
not actually just Slayer text. It
What?
might be functional.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh no. Okay, so when you have the idol from below equipped, sometimes mummies will spawn. They're the jewel guardians that are guarding this jewel, and they will attack you, and they can be very scary. So be very careful if you decide to equip this jewel, especially if you're playing hardcore. My goodness, please don't equip this jewel if you're playing hardcore or expect to die.